Okay, we're doing this. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the husband tag. So I'm just going to pick up Gary. We're just gonna kind of take a day off, I guess. I mean, we already worked in the morning, but I'm gonna take him to lunch and we can just kind of go through all the questions that you guys asked in the comments and also tell you a little bit about our relationship. This is our Valentine's Day because Valentine's Day is on Wednesday, but we have activities on Wednesday after school, so I don't think we're gonna really have a Valentine's Day like dinner. So this is it for us. I just decided on a Monday morning to take him out and just torture him a little bit with questions. So there was a question that I can answer because I'm the young person in this relationship, and a lot of girls asked me, how did I determine that getting married at 21 was kind of the move for me? So I met Gary when I was 19, but nothing happened. I was in a relationship when I met him first, and then a year later I met him again, and then I was living in New York. And listen, at that point in my life, at 19, 20, 21, if I haven't met Gary, I wouldn't even think about marriage because it was not anything on my mind. Like, what the heck? Like, my mom still jokes about it. She's like, it's so funny that you got married so young because I literally thought you're gonna get married in like, well, in your, you know, mid-30s type of thing. So I didn't think about my age as a factor. It just felt right. I was at a place in my life where I stopped sabotaging my own type of kind of happiness. So you know, when we're sometimes in situations where everything is going well and you're still like finding ways to like, but why is it so good? Like, let's find something that's wrong with it. So in my relationship with Gary, I could have done it so many times because we obviously have a huge age difference. We have different interests. We're not very like similar. But with Gary, there was something that I felt that I've never felt before. And I thank my lucky stars. And I thought also to myself, you know, I've been in relationships before, and just the type of support and just protection that I felt when I was with Gary, I have never felt before. In any relationship that I had prior to Gary, I always felt like, okay, this is cool, like he's a boyfriend and we're dating and whatever, but like I'm on my own and I do my own thing and this is it. But there was something with Gary that just felt like this man is gonna be there no matter what's gonna happen. And I'm really happy that at such a young age I understood how valuable it is, because I'm sure if you look around, if you're around my age or you have a lot of married friends or even like just relationship boyfriend girlfriend, I'm sure that you see like people split up really fast. Like no one's fighting to keep a marriage or a relationship anymore. Like not a lot of people fighting for each other. And I think that when you find a man that just feels like he's gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that you're happy and protected and, you know, will always support you and lift you, I think that's something you really need to kind of grab onto. That's what really happened. I can't even, it wasn't like this calculated thing. The only thing that I did do is, you know, because I was so young, I knew how I felt and I knew that I loved him, but I did want to have my mother's approval just because I thought, listen, she's been through so much in life and she knows what's up. So I don't know if right now I'm just, you know, looking at life from these 20, 21-year-old eyes, and maybe, you know, I don't see what's gonna happen in the future. My mother was definitely a big part of this decision. Okay, I'm gonna go pick him up and then we'll continue this conversation. Yay! Okay, I decided to go into his office because he's not answering my phone. Oh my god, these stairs.
1 second, 1 second.
No, that's it. Your time is up.
My time is up.
Cute. Are you not sick of seeing me everywhere?
Me?
Yeah.
If I thought I would have gotten sick of seeing you, I would never have married you.
Yeah. We're off. You're so cute. You look like a student.
I'm cute because you dress me. Otherwise I wouldn't be cute.
I don't dress you. You know the 73 questions with Vogue? We're gonna kind of
they're
have...
walking like this and they're asking questions?
Yeah, they literally no one walks like that. I'm not sure which one you've been seeing.
I just reinvented the whole niche.
A lot of people were surprised that you're Russian. Did you know that?
Well, I'm not technically Russian. I was born in the Ukraine.
I mean, but like, you speak Russian.
I do speak Russian.
A lot of people were so surprised.
Why?
I don't know. Some people were like, wow, I didn't think they thought you were Canadian.
Well, I mean, I came to Canada when I was 3 years old, so I'm kind of Canadian. Will they hear me?
Yes, don't be weird. Okay, so let's talk about how we met. Do you want to tell the story?
You want me to tell the story, or do you want to tell the story?
I'm gonna tell the story from
Okay.
my view, because maybe you have a different view. So we met at a friend's Shabbat dinner. It's like a Jewish tradition. It's like on Fridays we have like dinner with the family and friends, and I was 19.
And I didn't know that.
And you didn't know, and I think I just moved to Canada.
You had just come to Canada.
And it was a bunch of people that I didn't know, and my friend and her sister, and that's when I actually saw Gary there first. And he was wearing a suit, and he was a very serious guy.
So serious. There's just like this thing that said you have to be a little mean, and then girls will like you if you're a little mean. So I was just practicing it, and I did it on you, and I kind of made fun of you.
You were literally not mean to me at all.
Yeah, you just don't remember that night. That night doesn't even count as how we met. That night we literally saw each other for the first time, and yes, you were 19.
Yeah.
Don't even say how old I was. We're gonna get into that, but I didn't know how old you were. I wasn't even thinking anything. I was just like, yeah.
Okay, that night was nothing because like
it was nothing, and whatever. Everybody thought you were a cutie pie, so everybody was in love with you that night. But anyways.
Cute.
Yeah, that night just made me aware of your existence.
So I already moved to New York, and I came to visit, and my mom just opened her banquet hall. So I decided to do like a little party and invite some people that I knew.
You were trying to get people aware of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Because you're an entrepreneur. You're a shark. You wanted to help out your mom, and you did a great job. Nice. You didn't even invite me.
I did not invite you because I did not know.
Can I tell a story? I tell a story better than you do.
Okay, cool.
So you were hustling that night, and you were trying to help your mom out. You had a bunch of people over. So my buddy Mika gave me a call and said, hey, listen, we got to go to Elite. A bunch of people are there. Valeria's there. At this point, she's 20 years old. We talked a little. I thought obviously she's an attractive girl, and she was super, super smart. So she went off to her party, and I was there, and I was talking to our mutual friend, Mary. What's up, Mary? And I asked Mary, what's going on with Valeria? And she said, well, she's single now. I said, okay. I go, by the way, how old is she? Mary told me she's 20 years old, and I was 38 years old at the time. But I was a very young and cool 38. So I asked Mary, I said yes. So I asked Mary, I said, wow, she's so young. I said, you know what, Mary, do you know if she's open to, dating an older guy? So Mary said to me, you know what, I'm gonna find out. And Mary's a super nice, polite girl. So I never heard back from Mary, which led me to believe that Valeria had zero interest in me. A couple of weeks passed by, Valeria's back in town. I run into her at another banquet hall, actually, down the street from her mom's place. And there was a party there. I saw her again, and we were chatting. And I said to her, I said, hey, what's going on? What are you doing after? She says, oh, I'm just going home. Now, I was living downtown, so I had to go the complete opposite way. I remember I said to you, I said, well, I can give you a lift home. Why don't I just give you a lift home? I convinced you to, and then as we were leaving, and I thought, okay, I'm going to chat with you. I'm going to talk with you. I'm going to see what's up. Our friends basically came, said, oh, you're giving Valeria a ride home? Let's grab a ride too. Oh, man. So they hopped in the back. They
blocked you.
They blocked me. They were all over the place.
We didn't have a chance to talk, and then I went home. Anyways, then after that, we kind of stayed in touch.
On BlackBerry Messenger.
Yeah, but super like...
No, but when I suggested to you, actually in the car, when they were in the back going crazy, I said to you, hey, let's go to this musical thing, which I don't go to any stuff like that. I'm not into cultural stuff.
He invited me to go to a play,
and she said, oh, yeah, we'll all go, referencing our mutual group of friends, like our common group of friends. And that was just a very polite way of her letting me down. And I thought, you know what, she's such a nice girl. Most other girls would just be rude about turning a guy down. But Valeria, I thought, was so sweet about it that I thought, what a nice girl. So I said to myself, you know what, it's not gonna happen, I get it, I'm too old for her. I will just be friends with her, because chances are she has other nice girlfriends that she would introduce me to. So then I dropped all the nonsense, all the games, and we were just friends, and we were text messaging back and forth. And then the magic happened a few weeks after that.
Yeah, so I came back from New York, and my best friend from Israel came to visit me, and there was literally no one in town. And it was a long weekend, so I messaged Gary, and I was like, hey, are you in town? I messaged a lot of people, and no one was in town. And then I messaged Gary, and I was like, are you in town? And he said, yeah. So I was like, hey, let's go out, like my girlfriend from Israel is here. Anyway, so we picked us up, and that's it. We had like dinner, the four of us. Gary brought a friend.
So I didn't think this was a date.
No, it was not a date.
But you fell in love with me that night.
You were really funny.
I was funny?
You were really funny. Guys that understand that if you make a girl laugh, it's done. Like, you're good. Anyways, that night just like we really kind of clicked. And
so we kissed that night.
Yeah.
We kissed that night, and as I was kissing Valeria, I was in a complete state of shock because, oh my God, I can't believe this awesome girl is actually into me. So at that point, my whole world just turned upside down. And the possibilities of life became endless. I'm not being sarcastic. Why are you laughing?
They're so cute. I remember we spent the weekend together, and I went back to New York, and I feel like when you dropped me at the airport, we said goodbyes like I'm flying to the other end of the world.
And we were both literally crying.
We were literally, it was so weird.
So then I started coming to New York every week.
Yeah, every weekend he was in New York. Every weekend.
The following weekend, I think, after we started dating, she was back in Toronto. We were hanging out, and I said to her, I said, listen, I'm not asking you now, but I'm just letting you know that you're gonna be my wife. That's
I was like,
heavy.
well, this guy's
After 1 week, I go, you're gonna be my wife. She says, you're crazy. I said, listen, it is what it is, and you're gonna be my wife. So she said, okay, I trust my mother fully. Come meet my mother. If my mother's cool with you, we're gonna continue dating. If not, you and I are done. I said, okay, done, no problem. Let's do it. 3 days after that, so 10 days into our relationship, I come to her mother's banquet hall. Now, her mother already knew me. We had met a couple of times in passing because she was the owner of this place, and I had been there a couple of times. We came in, we sat down, and her mom goes to me, come for a smoke with me. I said, I'm sorry, Victoria, I don't smoke. She goes, just come with me. She wanted some privacy, she wanted to talk to me. We got outside, her mom says to me, she goes, what are your intentions towards my daughter? Now, she's saying this in Russian, and although I speak Russian, I speak like I'm 9 years old. Yeah. Right? I speak like a child because I grew up here speaking Russian at home with my folks. So her mom tells me, listen, what's your intention with my daughter? So I said to her, my intention is to marry your daughter. I love her and I'm going to marry her. And I'm telling this woman, the first time I'm meeting her, I'm telling her I'm going to marry her daughter. So she's, her mom was a little shocked, but not too shocked because she understands how awesome her daughter is. And I said to her mom, I said, look, to be honest with you, the only problem I see here is our difference in age. Meaning, I have to be cool with it, and I'm cool with it, and you need to be cool with it. Because if I was a parent, and if I had a daughter and a guy who was 18 years older, and I'm 18 years older, for all of you who want to know, a man who's 18 years older than my daughter came knocking, I'd have a problem with it. So I said to her, like, I need to know what your position is on this, and to be honest, it won't change my opinion about me marrying Valeria, but you and I are going to have to figure it out. And she was very cool. She says, keep doing what you're doing and we'll see what happens.
Anyway, she approved. That's basically what was it there. I think that Gary he came into this like so sincere and so upfront. And my mom, if you guys watch any of my vlogs, like the Russia vlog, you got the chance to get to know my mom a little bit. And my mom is a very like strong, opinionated. She doesn't like any bullshit. Like, you just have to be straightforward and you have to be like a man to deal with her. So I think that's like all the qualities that she ever wanted, Gary showed them. So I think it was very like, once she saw that, she's like, okay, I know that my daughter is she's gonna be fine. So that's how we met. And then I think like 2 months after,
I proposed.
Gary proposed. Someone asked, how was the first time meeting the parents for you two?
Well, for me, you just heard the story.
My mom and Gary are like best friends.
Yeah, we're cool.
My mom is obsessed with Gary. Yeah, Gary's always like proposing to move to a bigger house so she can, with her husband, move in.
Yeah, we just all live together.
Which is like such a great idea.
I think so.
And Gary's mother is super sweet. She's really nice. And
she had to sit down when I told her how old you are.
Yeah, I'm sure. We have like a good balance in the family, and I'm really happy that none of our families, like, they're not nosy in your face. Like, we don't have that. Like, my mother-in-law will never bother me and tell me like I'm not doing something right. Like, she's not that kind of woman, so I'm really lucky. I mean, my mother is very opinionated, but Gary understands her shtick, so it works. Were you planning on having kids at such a young age? I wasn't planning, but I was also not planning on getting married at 21. But
she didn't meet me.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, once I met Gary, I just stopped kind of blocking, you know, the natural flow of the relationship. And we got engaged after 2 months, and then we were engaged for about a year. On July 1st, we got married the following year.
Yeah, July 1st.
July 1st. So
we were engaged for a year. So I proposed after 2 months. We were engaged for a year, and then we got married. Yeah.
How did people react about us?
I don't think anybody would ever have the nerve to say anything to me. So
we were for sure gossip for a while.
I think we still are.
I feel like people already, like, there's other things that happen since, but I mean, we've been married for over 5 years now. So.
5.5 years, yeah, we were married 5.5 years.
But yeah, I definitely think that people were just like, you know, she married him for the money. Yeah, no, that's all nonsense. He just wanted a trophy wife.
That's all nonsense.
I can't say it bothered me that much, because I just felt like, listen, I found my person, right? So it's not,
you know what? All of that negative talk, nobody talks to me about it, and I'm guessing nobody talks to you about it. And what people say when we're not around, I, number one, can't control, and I don't care about.
Like, were you not worried marrying someone that young that, you know, maybe we're not in the same stage in our lives, like once we got into real life? Because at first, in the beginning, it was all great, like it was just you and me, we were traveling, we were doing all these things that we still do, but
we still do,
yeah, but it was like, you know, it was kind of like the beginning of a relationship, right? Which is different. Were you never worried that, you know, one day I'm just gonna be like, hey, what do I need this for? You know, I'm like 21.
Look, I mean, if when you and I got married when you were 21 years old, if I would have thought you were a kind of typical 21-year-old, I don't think I wouldn't have been able to marry you, because your attitude wouldn't have. You're very intelligent, and you know, you're very emotionally intelligent. So to me, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it was a concern. Our age difference was always a concern to me, and I don't want to say it's still a concern. It's not a concern, because our day-to-day, I don't feel an age difference between us. It is what it is in life, right?
Yeah.
Back then, I was saying to myself, it may or may not work out, but I didn't think that the age difference would be a contributing factor to the probability of us working out or not.
How do you fix a problem together? I feel like we don't really fight. I
can't even to this day remember when we've had like a fight.
I think that we disagree, but I'm not the type of person that keeps things inside. Like, I need to talk about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I started doing where if we're, you know, have an argument or something, I'll usually just kind of shut off and go and be by myself for a little bit, and then I'll come back.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but if, let's say, there's some disagreement or something.
Do you know, there's, I think, a couple of reasons why we don't argue. So one of them is that for the most part, I feel we're both, we try to stay, you know, relatively calm and level-headed when we're discussing important things in our lives. That's one thing. The other thing is that early on in our relationship, and I don't know if you remember this, but early on, if we were talking and we were debating anything and you would raise your voice because it's like a natural thing for you.
Yeah, because I'm Israeli.
Yeah, because you have this Israeli thing, and you know what? You and your mom, you guys, my perception is you guys are screaming at each other. And I'm just like, why are you screaming at each other? And Valeria's like, that's just how we talk. What I told Valeria is that when we talk, we can't raise our voices at each other. So I think that's one of the key things is don't raise your voice, because the perception in the conversation of the person who's getting screamed at is that there's a problem, and they go into defense mode, and then all of a sudden you start fighting. So we have a rule: we don't raise our voices, and when we do, we always catch each other saying, hey, like, you got to lower your voice.
You need to choose your battles. I think that at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship with a person that you love and trust, and you know that, you know, the decision or what they want to do is obviously for the benefit of you and your family and each other, I think that, you know, you need to let go of things that you not necessarily care about so much. And I do agree. I think in relationship, people always fight for the, you know, to be the dominant person or the decision maker. And I think that as years go by, we learn, you know, what's each other's kind of areas, right? Where I know that there's decisions that I prefer you to make, and there's, you know, the rest I can take care of. I feel like that really keeps us, you know, have a healthy relationship, and we focus on what's important and not just like fight and
I think we over communicate too. Like, we're always talking about
we
what goes
always
on.
Talk about everything. It's true.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to the kids, because that's the most important thing.
So what was your first impression of me when you saw me?
I thought you were kind of funny looking, but in a cute way, obviously. But yeah, that was my impression. And you were dorky. Basically, my impression of you was accurate. It's who you are. You're a bit of you're a cute, funny looking dork.
Thanks, boo. Are you guys planning to have more kids in the future? Or is Ben and Jake enough?
Sorry, are you asking me this question?
Yeah, well, I'm asking the question that was on the thing.
No, but are you answering the question or am I answering the question?
We are open to have more children.
Yeah, I would like to have more kids.
They're like, I thought for sure after Jake, I was like, should we really have another one? But I knew that I didn't want only one child. Like, I didn't want him to be by himself. But after 2, I was like, there's no way I'm having more. Because when we just got married and we were talking about kids, I was like, listen, we're gonna have 4 kids. And then after 2, I was like, oh my God, this is no joke.
Yeah,
but
kids are,
as they got older, I think that we have a rhythm now. Like, we get it, and it's honestly the best part of our lives. Someone asked me if they would recommend to have kids young. You know what? There's so many things that need to be like, the base need to be so strong before you have kids, and that's something that I think people really take like lightly before they decide to have children. You need to have such a strong relationship with your partner and just support each other and be there for each other, because once you bring kids into the whole mixture, it's a whole other ball game. Like, it's so hard.
So I kind of disagree with you on certain points, because I think if people wait around to have like a perfect relationship and
not a perfect relationship,
I think they'll never have kids. Cause
yeah, but not a perfect relationship. But like having those, like when I was driving to your office, I was talking about how, you know, there are things that to me, like how I knew you were the one, because you had qualities that, like, you know, morals and values and certain things that I knew that, you know, a person either have it or they don't, and it's not something that you can change or like, you know, make a person have. You need to be on the same page. You guys need to have the same values. You guys need to have the same morals, no? Before you bring children to the world.
For the most part, I mean, if we're talking about relationships, people just do, I think, silly things. They're in the wrong relationships, knowing they're in the wrong relationships.
Yeah, and wasting time.
And they're wasting time.
And like hoping for it to get
They're
fixed.
hoping for their partner to change.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do, but I don't know.
Not for long. Someone needs a car wash. You need a car wash. Says the girl that always has a dirty car. Someone asked me if there's advantages and disadvantages to marry older men.
So you're asking me to answer that question?
No, I'm gonna answer the question.
Answer the...
I don't see any disadvantages. Like maybe there's some events that don't really interest you, that interest me.
I don't think that's an age thing.
I don't think it's an age thing.
You like to go to like girly events and fashion stuff and cultural stuff, which I'm not huge on.
I think the advantages is definitely having like someone that already figured out his life in a way, like you're not chasing a party.
No, I'm definitely not chasing a party. I was actually hoping you would be more into partying. I thought I'm gonna marry this young girl and oh my God, I have to go partying again. And I didn't want to, because to me all my partying was done. It's 9 o'clock. Babe, do you want to go out? You're already in your pajamas. You're already going to sleep. Why are you going to sleep? My beauty sleep.
Because I want to look young forever. So I wouldn't say there's any disadvantages, to be honest with you. Is either of you was ever jealous?
Since the day I've met you, you've always made me feel really secure from like in regards to like other men or anything like that. But am I jealous? I probably wish I had more time with you, because you work a lot and I work a lot. So I'm not jealous. I'm just, I don't know. No, it's not jealousy. I just want more time with you.
That's a nice thing to say.
Well, that's the truth. Listen, I also want more time with your mother. I want her to come over more often too.
Well, then I don't know about how much of a compliment that was right now. Do you sometimes have misunderstandings due to coming from different countries?
No.
No.
I would say culturally we're actually an exact match.
Yeah.
Even though you grew up in Israel,
yeah,
and I grew up here, but I feel like Israel is very modern. It's very westernized,
yeah,
as a nation and as a culture. So from that perspective, no. And you grew up watching sitcoms. That's why your English is kind of funny. And
it's true. My humor, like I get it. I'm hip. I'm in the nose.
I grew up watching Friends.
Yeah.
You also grew up watching Friends because you watched it on reruns.
Yeah.
In Israel, right?
Yeah.
So I think because of Friends, culturally we're the same.
What did Gary think when you started your YouTube channel? Did he support you? Did you ever have like any reservations about it?
No, I think it's great. I think you know my thoughts on it. I think you're a genius in general, and I think that you've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom, and I think you help a lot of people. So I think you provide a real value to your audience. So from that perspective, I think that it's actually you're doing extremely important work. And the other thing is it is a business, and I love seeing you develop both as a business person and as somebody of influence who can help other people. He was like, I don't feel you cross the line and you tell people too much about our personal and private lives. So to me, I just see positives from it. It does take up a lot of your time, but I think I would rather you were super busy than didn't have enough to do.
Did you ever had issues with me modeling?
No, never. Why would I?
No, I'm just asking.
When I met you, you were a model.
Yeah.
I would have had issues if the stuff that you did wasn't tasteful. Anything I've ever seen of yours was tasteful. Yeah. You never crossed any lines that made me feel uncomfortable with all of the work you did before you and I met, or any of the work after you and I met. So to me, it never bothered me.
Did you ever think that I am with you or married you because of money?
No.
Never?
It never crossed. No, never, because you told me about some of the people you dated in the past. Yeah. And quite honestly, they make me look very poor. I mean, it's true. Yeah, I mean, you could have been with people far wealthier than me, so that never crossed my mind. The way I looked at it was that with you, it was important for you that I had achieved something and that I was able to provide. Mm-hmm. I knew it was important to you, but I also knew it wasn't the only thing that was important to you. I think for any girl, it's important that she's with a man who is ambitious and who's achieved something and who's at least trying to achieve something. But that shouldn't be the only criteria. And for you, it was never the only criteria. Had I been a complete jerk, you would not have married me.
I agree. Thank God you weren't a jerk. I would have sucked. Can you make it open? Did we ever take a break? No.
No.
What is your business? What do you do for a living?
What do you mean? I'm a YouTube husband.
He always says that he's a celebrity husband.
I am. I'm a celebrity husband. So, I mean, I've always been in the internet business. I have actually a few businesses now, but for the most part, it's internet media. Someone
asked, you're both working parents. My question is, how do you find time to be close as a family? Really making sure that the family is close and tight is a big priority for us. So we make an effort. Like we have every weekend, we have a Shabbat dinner. On Fridays they come, and we're not necessarily like following a religious thing. It's really all about tradition. We always want to make sure that our kids know that family is really, really important. Babe, what is your favorite quality of mine and the least favorite? Start with the least favorite, because then if I'll get angry, then you tell me my favorite.
My least favorite quality?
Yeah.
Is I still don't understand why you leave the house with no money, no keys, no wallet. I don't know what goes through your mind. You're like a grown-up with children and you leave the house with like nothing. Absolutely nothing. You leave the doors unlocked.
Okay, now the favorite part.
We don't have enough time in this video. Everything, babe. I love the person that you are. You're awesome, and when I'm feeling down, you do whatever it takes.
Thank you, except for today.
Yeah, except for today. You're like such a grouch today. It's like really annoying. The day that you asked me to do this video with you, you're like, I'm tired and blah blah blah. Like let's get pumped up for this video.
Oh, someone asked, what is the difference between the relationship that we had when we first started dating and the relationship now?
I don't know. I don't think it's changed much. I think
really?
we're both older. We're more mature. We have responsibilities. Now we communicate a lot about just our day-to-day lives and about the children and business and family. It's the topics of conversation I think are different, but I still feel for you the exact same way I did when we first met. And we're partners now. We're just much closer now than we were before we got married.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's like a different, it developed to a more deeper love, I feel. How did you find out you were pregnant? Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah, so
with Jake. So we were in Banff, Calgary. We're visiting actually Gary's uncle. I really love like active vacations, so I made Gary go and climb this mountain in Banff, which is such a beautiful place. And it was like a 4-hour.
It was a crazy 4-hour hike up a mountain.
Steep mountain.
And my legs were.
It was insane.
It was
Gary
bad.
was like,
I was complaining.
But it was really nice and really cool and really awesome. So we're done with that hike and we go down.
My uncle was in the front of the car with my aunt. Valeria and I were in the back seat, and my uncle says, hey, let's go grab some drinks.
And I asked to stop at the Shoppers Drug Mart. I did not say why. I didn't have any signs or anything.
No.
And I went to buy a pregnancy test, and I went to the bathroom at Shoppers Drug Mart. I didn't check, like I didn't stay to check the result. I just took it with me, and because I was like, oh, there's nothing, like it's not, you know, it was so ridiculous. We just like started trying. I sat in the car and I opened the thing and Gary was sitting beside me and it was positive. And I showed Gary and we just started like freaking out like two little teenagers in the back of the car. And that's when we found out that I was pregnant. So I was at that point pregnant for 6 weeks with Jake. With Ben it was already less like, you know.
I remember what you did. Put on your seatbelt, babe.
Oh.
I remember with Ben, I just came home and you put your pregnancy test on my pillow.
Yeah, and that's it. That was our pregnancy stories. Someone asked if we ever get confused as father and daughter in public.
Do we get confused? We may get confused. I don't think anybody ever mentions it. No one's ever come up to me and said, hey, your daughter looks so nice today.
I think it's really funny because I look so young. But
no one's come up to you and say, oh, your dad's such a nice guy?
No.
I think when we start like making out, I think people are like, okay.
Yeah, that's weird. I think it's really funny because like I look so young, like I do not look like I'm in my late 20s. So it's really funny, especially when I'm like dressed like a teenager and no makeup on. It's, yeah. I'm sure maybe someone thought about it, but no one ever asked. What's the secret to keep the chemistry going even after 2 kids?
We take time for each other. I mean, we get away from the kids. We do get away from the kids from time to time.
Yeah, I think we have a very like
we take trips. We take a lot of trips.
We take a lot of trips.
3-4 day trips together.
Yeah.
And we explore stuff together, and yeah, we make time for each other.
Yeah, it's very important, and I think that's when help is so necessary.
We're very lucky to have help in terms of our nanny, my sister, your mom, your brothers.
Yeah, I'm sure that it would be a lot of pressure to, you know, to be able to keep the relationship going with kids when you don't have help or family.
It's tough, and we're very blessed. Most people, I feel, they don't have as much help as we do. And,
yeah.
And, you know, I think it's better to ask, you know, people who don't have as much help, because that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people ask, how did you propose?
So I proposed, I suggested, hey, let's go to Israel for 4 days. So we went to Israel. I quickly got the ring before our trip. I smuggled the ring and I hired a driver to basically take us on a little tour. So we went to the Wailing Wall. I was so nervous, like between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, I was so nervous. We had stopped, I think, because you wanted to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you went, you came back, I got out of the car, and I opened the door for you, and when I closed the door, I slammed the door on my finger, essentially fracturing my finger, and I was in such excruciating pain. So for the rest of the trip, I had my finger in a glass of ice. We went to the Wailing Wall, and we prayed, and then we left and we went to the King David Hotel, because it's this beautiful patio that overlooks the old city of Jerusalem. We were sitting at the table. I got down on one knee, and in front of the you know, everybody who was sitting there, I said a bunch of really cute things and sweet things, and I asked you to be my wife, and you said yes. Luckily for me.
That was such a nice day. Do we speak in English or Russian off camera? I would say we speak mostly English, unfortunately.
Yeah, mostly English, but we just talk Russian when we want. We speak Russian. We talk Russian. I can't even talk English. We speak Russian when we want privacy.
Question to Gary. How long does it take a man to decide, understand that that's the woman he wants to create a family with?
I can't talk for all men. I can just talk for myself. But I had quite a few girlfriends before I met you, and there was never anybody before I met you that I was dating and I said, I'm gonna marry this girl. But as soon as I met you, I knew you were my wife. So for me, it happened as soon as, you know, as soon as that period of time. I think like a man knows.
If he knows, he knows. It doesn't.
As soon as that period of time passed, between when we were just friends for those couple of weeks, as soon as I knew that you were also interested in me romantically, as soon as that happened, I knew at that moment you were going to be my wife. So the answer is that you know right away. Yeah.
When you decide to act on it is a different story.
Yeah.
But
I
usually a man knows right away. Who's the strict parent, you or Gary?
You.
I am.
These guys have me wrapped around their fingers.
How do you deal with the stigma around marrying someone older or the stereotype of Russian bride? For me as a Russian woman, it's one of the most annoying stereotypes. I don't really think about it, to be honest with you. I don't know.
I just don't care. I don't care what people...
Yeah.
I think the best thing anybody could do is not care what other people think.
Yeah.
So if I had to sit around and worry about what people thought about the fact that my wife is younger,
yeah,
whatever, you know what? I have to live my best life for me and for my family, so I don't really care what people think.
If you had 2 girls instead of 2 boys, what would you name them? Oh, I have no idea. Gary really wants to name someone Gariana.
Gariana's a strong female name.
Another name that he always talks about is after his grandmother.
Okay, why you gotta bring my grandmother into this?
Because I want to say the name.
Tuba is a beautiful name. It's traditional and it's nice.
Yeah, no comment.
Sorry guys, we don't have girls. We'd have to figure it out.
What do you value most in a marriage?
I value our partnership. I just value that everything we do in life, we do it together. And you know, before when I was trying to accomplish things, it was just, you know, it was just me and my mom. I always wanted to take care of my mom, so it was just me and her. And now with you and the kids, and with, you know, your mom, and with Dima and your brothers, I value having this family. I value having, you know, spending the time. I don't know, that to me is the best thing about marriage, and it's the partnership that we have. Yeah,
I feel like accomplishing our goals and like seeing each other, you know, accomplishing things that we like, you know, I don't know, it's really cool.
I feel like this is such a serious video. Why are we we're not, in real life, we're not so serious.
We're not serious, but a lot of people,
maybe her.
A lot of people have questions that I feel like we never answer. So this is a very like video where we answer everything.
I feel people, not to be self-centered, but I feel people were asking a lot of questions specifically about me and my story. So are those questions in there? Or are we like...
How did we decide the names of our boys?
Well, for me, I knew when I was 13 years old that I'm gonna have a son and his name's gonna be Jake, because I named him after my grandfather who passed away when I was 13 years old. So Jake is named after him, because I just thought Jake was a strong name. Jake Lipovetsky is a strong dude.
And then Benjamin was kind of I just love the name Benjamin. So when we found out that we're gonna have another boy, it was really, we didn't really like even think about it. I just told you like I love Benjamin, and Gary said okay, I love it too, and done. It was actually very fast and easy for us, for both of them. Don't you feel guilty when you travel and leave your kids at home? No, I don't feel guilty.
No, I don't feel guilty. We don't do it that often, and when we do it, we have family with them.
It's necessary. I think that's how we keep our relationship strong, because the day-to-day life as parents is so crazy. Like we're always running, doing things, there are activities in school, and there's like all these responsibilities. Like if we don't take the time off to just enjoy each other and go away somewhere, it's not going to be a good thing. You don't want to get to a point where you grow apart and everyone is so busy in their own like routine that you forget about each other. So I think that's also kind of the secret to keeping the love alive, where you put your relationship and your partner first. So we have a very similar view when it comes to relationship, where at the end of the day, like our relationship is so important, like it's gonna dictate our family life. So we need to make sure that Gary and we're on the same page and we're catering to each other's feelings and needs.
You can't pour from an empty cup. So if you and I didn't take time for each other, we would then be unhappy, and that unhappiness would 100%. Have a far worse effect on our children
100%.
Than if all we did was focus on them.
You know what, it's very important for me that the kids will grow up having the memories of love in the house, of, you know, us loving each other and taking care of each other, and, you know, us also spending time together, just, you know, Gary and I want them to see it. I want them to know that it's important. What life lessons did you learn from each other?
You taught me to slow down and to appreciate what I already have versus only thinking about the other things that I want. Before you, and even now sometimes, I get so focused on goals and so focused on what I want to accomplish that I completely lose sight of what I already accomplished and what I already have. And to me, that's the most valuable lesson that you've taught me. So what have I taught you?
I think you taught me that there is no limit to one can achieve and do. And I love how you made me face a lot of my fears. You know, I was very comfortable in being like a gray mouse in a way. You know, just like...
People don't understand. That's a Russian... That's a Russian... That's a Russian thing.
A Russian thing. A gray mouse is just like, you know, you're small, no one hears you, like, you're just kind of in a corner or hide.
So even when you started this YouTube thing, and when you had a couple of thousand subscribers, and now you're almost at 500,000, when you did that, I told you that you are gonna be the Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres of your generation.
It's true, that's how he talks, and I think that's something that I never had. Like, you really taught me to think bigger, because it's really is, if you work hard and you go after what you want, you'll get it.
Listen,
and if you don't get it, you get something else. It's pretty good too.
You have to keep pushing. And even initially, I was the one who said you have to do more content and more content. You've got a great message. You're really providing value to people. So I'm really happy that you're doing that.
Do I regret marrying young? Definitely not.
I sometimes wish I would have had kids earlier.
Yeah. Because
sometimes I feel like, right now I'm 45 years old.
Well, Gary, like we had Jakey, Gary was 40.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have been with Valeria. So to me, Valeria is the only person I ever met in my whole life that I thought, I'm going to marry this person.
Has Gary always been successful, or did you two grow together to that stage?
No, I haven't always been successful. I didn't come from money at all.
Yeah, Gary did it on his own.
Yeah, no, I definitely had a lot of struggles when I was younger. When Valeria and I met, I was definitely okay. But I've developed the most as a business person since Valeria and I met and we've been together. I've learned the most about business just being in various circumstances since we got married, and being with Valeria too, because she really opens up a different perspective that I never had before, that I really needed.
So it had something to do with it?
You have everything to do with it.
Do you think I'm your soulmate?
Yeah, of course. I don't think you are. I know you are.
Okay, that's good. How do you imagine to be in 20 years from now?
I think we'll still both be really fly.
I think so too.
Yeah.
What has been the toughest challenge of your relationship this far? I think it was children. Children has been the biggest challenge for us, because we really had to change the way we do things. I
think it was unexpected how drastic the change would be to go from no kids to kids.
Yeah.
That was the toughest thing, and it wasn't even that tough to go from Jake and then Jake plus Ben. The toughest part was just that initial.
I think that kids were definitely the biggest challenge, but it was also the best one ever.
Absolutely.
Who has more shoes? Gary.
No, you have more shoes.
You have so many shoes. We have like
I
3
do.
closets for you.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Gary
do have a lot of shoes.
has more shoes than me.
I like sneakers.
For sure.
I actually get upset that you don't do more HOOTDs. I get all dressed up. I come downstairs in the morning. Her and Emma are sitting there. They're doing their thing. And I'm like, ladies, hello. Look at this.
What's the most important attitude you want your kids to live by?
If you fall, get up.
Yeah.
Period. Always. Because it's going to happen. You're going to fall. You just got to keep getting up.
And embrace the fall. I think that I want them to know that it's okay to fail. And it's okay to, you know, feel down. But then definitely always get up.
Fall down.
Fall down. No. Always get up if you fall down.
Right. You said to feel down.
Oh, fall down.
That's your English.
Yeah, it's my English. Will you film Husband Does My Makeup? I don't know if Gary would even know how to
You want to put makeup on me?
No, you're doing my makeup.
2 seconds, watch, like this. Boom, 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 done. Masterpiece.
What is the most memorable moment you've created together? There's a lot.
I don't know, I think the obvious ones are the birth of the kids.
Yeah. But I even like Jake's first bath. Like, I have so many like small little memories that are so ingrained in my...
when he was getting into that bath for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do think a lot of it's tied into the kids. I mean, look, keep in mind, we didn't have a lot of time. It was just you and me. I mean...
Yeah, so that's it. I feel like it's gonna be a really long video. I think that we answered most of them. That's it. Did you enjoy? Did you enjoy a little interview? Midday interview?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, if people were curious about me, I think maybe now they know a little bit more.
I feel like they'll want more of you. If you guys have any other questions, you can just leave them in the comments and we're gonna answer together. And that's it. That was so cute. That was fun.
You're a monkey.
You're a monkey. That's it, guys. I'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
This is Gary. In addition to the husband tag that we filmed yesterday with Valeria, I thought I would say a few words with Valeria not around. I'm at my office. I'm actually about to go home to see Valeria and the kids. And I just wanted to say a few things. I have a lot of respect for what Valeria is doing. And I just wanted to also say thanks to all of you. You have no idea how much it means to me to see how you guys are supporting her. With all of your comments, with everything that you guys do. And the cutest thing is when we're out and people stop us and I just watch from the side how people are saying, Valeria, we love you, thank you for your help, for your advice. And it means a lot to me. That's about it. I'm off, and see you guys in the videos. Take care.